want the book? Yeah? Okay. If you can, please repeat after me. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudram apa pravishanti yatvat tatvat kama yam pravishanti sarve sa shantim apnoti nakamakami apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudram apa pravishanti yatvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashantim apnoti nakamakami apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudram apa pravishanti yatvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashantim apnoti nakamakami. Would you like to read? You don't have it, no? Okay, we just recite once more. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudram apa pravishanti yatvat tatvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashantim apnoti nakamakami. Thank you very much. Well done. Apuryamanam, always being filled. Achala pratishtam, steady situated. Samudram, the ocean. Apa, waters. Pravishanti, enter. Yatvat, as. Tatvat, so. Kamaha, desires. Yam, unto. Unto whom? Pravishanti, enter. Sarve, all. Sa, that person. Shantim, peace. Apnoti, achieves. Na, not. Kama, kami, one who desires to fulfill desires. Thank you. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. A person who is not disturbed, please repeat. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. Thank you. Purport. Although the vast ocean is always filled with water, it is always, especially during the rainy season, being filled with much more water. But the ocean remains the same, steady. It is not agitated, nor does it cross beyond the limit of its brink. That is also true of a person fixed in Krishna consciousness. As long as one has the material body, the demands of the body for sense gratification will continue. The devotee, however, is not disturbed by such desires because of his fullness. A Krishna conscious man is not in need of anything because the Lord fulfills all his material necessities. Therefore, he is like the ocean, always full in himself. Desires may come to him like the waters of the rivers that flow into the ocean, but he is steady in his activities. And he is not even slightly disturbed by desires for sense gratification. That is the proof of a Krishna conscious man, one who has lost all inclinations for material sense gratification, although the desires are present. Because he remains satisfied in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, he can remain steady, like the ocean, and therefore enjoy full peace. Others, however, who want to fulfill desires even up to the limit of liberation, what to speak of material success, never attain peace. The fruitive workers, the salvationists, and also the yogis who are after mystic powers are all unhappy because of unfulfilled desires. But the person in Krishna consciousness is happy in the service of the Lord, and he has no desires to be fulfilled. In fact, he does not even desire liberation from the so-called material bondage. The devotees of Krishna have no material desires, and therefore they are all in perfect peace. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Gnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svatam Sivatava Bhikam Dasti Satpatantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakanvitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarupyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Apur Yamanam Achala Pratishtam, Samudram Apa Pravishanti Yatvat. Tatvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashantim apnoti nakamakami. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I beg your blessings that I could do some service today. This chapter 2 starts by Krishna giving Arjuna the first lesson for spiritual life, that we are not the body, we are a spirit soul. And he goes for many verses to convince convince Arjuna and convince us about our real identity, that we are Brahman, we are a spirit soul. And then Arjuna asked Krishna, okay, what is the symptoms of a person who has realized that he is a spirit soul? He puts his question in, his question comes much earlier. He asks, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak, and what is his language? How does he sit, and how does he walk? And Krishna goes on almost to the end of chapter 2 to tell Arjuna about the symptoms of a self-realized person. And one of the symptoms is about controlling the senses. And in fact, in the last few verses, Prabhupada says in a lecture in LA 1968 that these verses tells us the secret of controlling the senses. And today's verse is one of these verses. So Krishna says, a person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, who is ever being filled by, but is always still. So the only way to achieve, to be peaceful, there are three symptoms of a self-realized person. One is three main symptoms. Is to be joyful, to not hanker or not lament, and also to be equally disposed to everybody. And in order to be joyful and not hanker and lament, we need to be peaceful, and peaceful within. And Krishna is using this analogy of the ocean, that the ocean is vast, but it's always calm, despite of the fact that rivers pour into the ocean from all different directions, all the time, from all different directions. But the ocean is not agitated. So Prabhupada says in the same lecture, which talks about the secret of controlling the senses, he says that we cannot kill our desire. Desire is constant companion of the living entity. Having desire is our living symptom. Because we are alive, then we desire. And he gives the example. He says, this table has no desire because, it's not living. No matter how long the table stays here, it doesn't tell us, oh, I'm tired, I want to be moved. because, it's not living. But we, as living being, or any living beings, animals, plants, they wanting something, desiring something, is the symptoms of jiva. So we cannot become desireless. And this analogy kind of shows that to us, that the ocean, the river, keeps pouring into the ocean. It doesn't stop. And especially during the even rainy seasons, even more water comes to the ocean. But the ocean remains calm. So we cannot stop the desires, but we have to change our desire, change it, desire for ourselves, change it to desire for Krishna. So in this way, then we will remain calm. Because then we're not thinking, the agitation only comes when we want something for ourselves, something we want to have, or something we have and we lose it. This is the hankering and lamenting. It constantly goes on as long as we are thinking about ourselves. We want to satisfy our own senses. But when we are able to change this desire to satisfy Krishna's senses, then we can stay calm. And he says to be. Sometimes the phrase is used to be from desires. Prabhupada says we can never be free from desires, but to change our desires from sense gratification to gratify Krishna's senses, that is the meaning of being free from desires. Jai Radha Gokulananda ki jaya. Sitaram Lakshman Hanumani ki jaya. Gauramata ki jaya. Then Prabhupada, in the later, we also know that chapter 2 is the summary of Bhagavad Gita. And as I said, these verses tells us what are the symptoms of a self-realized person who has realized Brahman, that we are not the body or spirit soul. But also we know that chapter 18 is also another way, of conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna has all the 10 to 15 verses that Krishna has mentioned in chapter 2 about the symptoms of a self-realized person. Again, Krishna has summarized them in chapter 18 in 3 verses, 51 to 53. And he gives the gist of all the symptoms that he mentioned in chapter 2. And at the end of the purport, Prabhupada mentions today's verse, 270. So I read the verse 18, 51 to 53. Being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred, one who lives in a secluded place, who eats little, who controls his body, mind, and power of speech, who is always in trance and who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship and peaceful, such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. So Krishna has basically summarized all the 10, 15 verses that he gave us in chapter 2. And then he explains in the purport, Prabhupada explains more about all these signs of a self-realized person. And at the end of the purport, Prabhupada reminds us of today's verse 270. He says, when one is free from the material conception of life, he becomes peaceful and cannot be agitated. This is described in Bhagavad Gita 270. Apur yamanam achala pratishtam samudram apa pravishanti yatvat tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashantim apnoti na kama kami. So, the word shanti is mentioned in this verse a few times. So this is, if we are desireless by the way Prabhupada has defined us, that we change the desire for sense gratification to the desire to gratify Krishna's senses, then we will feel real peace. And then followed by this verse is verse 54, where Prabhupada talks about Brahma Bhuta. That's the stage, having this symptom, being self-realized, realizing we're not the body, we are a spirit soul, and we are part and parcel of the Supreme Soul, then that is, Prabhupada says in the next verse, that is the stage of Brahma Bhuta. And and this is where, basically Bhagavad Gita ends with, and then Prabhupada explains that, first he distinguishes the stage of Brahma Bhuta that impersonalists define or know it, and the way that we, the personalists, know it. He says, to the impersonalist, achieving the Brahma Bhuta stage, becoming one with the Absolute, is the last word. But for the personalist or pure devotee, one has to go still further to become engaged in pure devotional service. So then that is the beginning of devotional service, basically. Please correct me, Prabhu. Reaching the stage of Brahma Bhuta is to be joyful, to have no hankering and lamenting, and to be equally disposed to everyone, meaning that we see the soul in everyone, not only in ourselves, in everyone, and also the super soul in everyone. But this is in fact the beginning of our devotional service. So it is actually quite high stage, even though Prabhupada teaches us that by doing bhakti, by doing devotional service, we automatically cover, all the other stages, but we should not become okay, because I'm doing some devotional service, then I am in the stage of Brahma Bhuta. It is quite a high level. It is, from all the symptoms that, I read, we can see that, I can see that, I've got a long way to get to the stage that, I'm not thinking about myself, my own wants. But of course, Krishna, what is his teaching? He says that if there is some need, some necessities, then Krishna will provide for us. More than that, we have to control it. And Prabhupada said that those verses in chapter 2, these are the secrets of controlling the senses. To change our own desire and thinking about Krishna's desires. In Yeah, basically, in so many places, Prabhupada defines this stage, this Brahma Bhuta stage. In Srimad Bhagavatam, in Bhagavad Gita, no more hankering, no more demanding, no more lamenting. Um, um, he even says in one lecture, he says, we cannot stop fighting for existence. This has to go on, you know. But we have to just change all these endeavors that we do. We cannot stop fighting, acting, but all the endeavors, then we have to gradually change it to you know, doing it for Krishna. So yes, so this analogy, Prabhupada always uses analogy which helps us to understand the subject, and also it helps us to remember and remain in our mind, because it kind of gives a picture, you know, the analogy normally. So thinking about the ocean and thinking about all the rivers all the time from all directions pouring into the ocean, but the ocean remains calm. So when the hankering comes, when the lamenting comes, we just you know, have to think, okay, there are some needs. In 270, Prabhupada did say that Krishna takes care of all our necessities. More than necessities, these are wants. And Krishna says, you know, a devotee does not, you know, remains calm. You know, we still want things, but hankering is different. Hankering is insisting and trying really different ways, you know, pushing it to get what we want. So we don't do that. And of course, many places, Prabhupada reminds us that controlling the senses is not about forcing and artificially, but replacing. You know, doing devotional service helps us to control our senses. Even though this devotional service, whatever, well, I do, you know, I know that it's not pure. There are always some personal motivation in it. I remember when I was first asked to do transfer service, and I was asked that which arti, you know, I want to do the transfer. And the first thing came to my mind, you know, I was just thinking about which maha is served at what time. And the 4 o'clock maha was the most attractive with all the cakes and the creams. So I chose the 4 o'clock maha. So clearly there was sense gratification in that. And I realized, of course, I realized it, but I still chose it. And then when I was coming for the service, you know, my eyes were glued to the cakes and to the creams. But then I started praying. Krishna, please take that away from me. You know, this is not good. All I'm thinking is how much maha I'm taking. And one day, one of the pujaris, he said to me not to make a maha plate for him. He was doing the pujari, and we always make maha for the pujari, the cook, and for the transfer. And he said, don't make maha for me. And and twice, you know, this happened. And I was a bit curious. And I said, Prabhu, can I ask you why you don't want the plate of maha? He said, yes, because when I know I'm going to have a plate, when I'm serving Krishna, when I'm offering the bhoga to Krishna, all I'm thinking, is that, okay, which one of the bhoga, am I going to get? So he said he decided, in order to stop that sense gratification for him, he decided not to take the maha plate when he is doing the service. So, well, I didn't follow his footsteps not to get the maha, but I tried to, I just said, okay, I give my maha to this person, or I give my maha to that person. Still, there was some personal motivation in it, because I kind of picked the people, okay, I give it to my grandchild, I give it to my daughter, it still was, self in it. And one day, somebody came to the pujari room, and they asked for a maha plate. When all the maha was gone, there was no more left, for me to give that person. And I can't remember what she told me, but I felt that, she really, really, wants this maha plate. And I said, don't worry, Mataji, there is a spare plate. And I gave her my own plate with still looking at the cakes, but I gave her, my own plate. And I was so peaceful and happy. And then I realized a little bit, tiny bit, what does it mean to be peaceful when there is no hankering, when there is no self-motivation. So hopefully we all pray that in our service, everybody does different services, but hopefully gradually we try to kind of be free from desire for ourselves in our service. Please, dear devotees, Prabhu, if there is anything you want to correct, please do, or you want to add. Hare Krishna. Prabhu? Right. Oh. Hare Krishna. Well, talking about devotional service, you all know that our main devotional service is chanting the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And of course, reading Bhagavad Gita is also a service. Anything which pleases Krishna is a service. And nothing pleases Krishna more than chanting, hearing his name, his pastimes, his glories. Is most happy when we do that. So this is our main and most important service that we all do daily, and we just need to try to make it free from desires, meaning free from personal desires, free from personal motivations. Still chanting and glorifying him, he has many material benefits, but we should not really consider those material benefits for us. We should only do it to make him happy. He's most happy when we call his name. Who is not happy? Anybody, when somebody calls your name, you become happy. Yeah, who was it? Who called me? Who called me? Yes, we all become happy. And he is a person. He's the supreme person, so he's really happy. The only thing is that when we call somebody, normally there are two motivations. We either want something from that person, normally the case for us. When we call somebody, they answer, yes, yes, did you call me? You say, oh, can you do this for me? Or can you give me this? Or all this. Or we can ask that person, what can I do for you? Yes? And imagine, of course, when we ask a person to do something for us, they are still happy. We want to serve others. So if a person asks us something to do, we always want. Krishna is always ready to do something for us. But when we ask him, what can I do for you? Then he is even happier. So this is chanting the Maha Mantra is for that. We call him. This is actually how Prabhupada has translated the Maha Mantra for us. Although there are 3 names, Krishna, Radha, Krishna, Hari, and Rama. There are 3 names which are repeated 16 times. So we keep calling him Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We're calling his name, but Prabhupada, the way he's translated is that we're calling his name and asking him, how can I serve you? So this is how Prabhupada has translated for us, that we call him, but instead of telling him to do something for us, we're asking him, oh, Krishna, Hari, Rama, how can I serve you? So in our chanting, this is what we try to remember. When we are chanting his names, we're calling him, and we're constantly asking him, how can I serve you? How can I serve you? And then reading Bhagavad Gita is also part of our service. In the temple, we have every day, in the morning, we read Srimad Bhagavatam, which is all about Krishna, and in the evening, Bhagavad Gita, which Krishna speaks himself. So reading Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, this is also a service, and this also is most pleasing to Krishna, because again, we are talking about him, we are chanting his names, his glories, what he says when we repeat. Then he's most happy. And more than that, when we try to understand it, Prabhupada says, just try to understand. Even if you understand it imperfectly, you will still be liberated. Just trying to understand, then, he will give us the understanding. And especially this in an assembly of devotees as a discussion. In the class is normally one person speaking. I wish you all say something. But Prabhupada very much insisted that we read Bhagavad Gita in the assembly of devotees, and we discuss among each other. And he even said that, we have to read it and understand it from different angles of view. So this is a service to Krishna, but also a service to the devotees. And we just have to try to make it desireless, meaning that I have no desire for ourselves, that, okay, I'm sitting here, everybody is listening to me, and okay, I try to study it and say something useful, but just to so that I won't feel embarrassed. Well, I still feel embarrassed, but Yeah, it just helped me to study more and more. And so please, let's please Prabhupada even further, and each of you has something to say, whether about the verse or whether about the Bhagavad Gita. Please do. Prabhu?
Since you insist.
Yes, please, just
No, leave the mic. Okay.
if you say.
This verse ends with two words, akama kami, which means desiring no desires.
Desire.
Which means even to have no desires, you should have a desire.
Hmm.
The last two words are
Akama, kami.
Kami means one who desires.
Yes,
Akama means no desire.
yes. Let me just repeat, for the audience. So you are referring to this, at the end of this verse, 270, there are two words, akama, kami, and which means desire, no desire. So you're saying that even to have no desire, we still have to want that, to have no desire. Yes, please continue.
That reminds me of one recent large festival we had was Nrsimhadev Chaturdashi. So it reminds me of
If you have no desire, one day you have to leave it here and go.
Yes, you didn't come in the beginning of the class. We were just talking about it, that we cannot live without desire. We just have to purify our desires. Yes, and
Nrsimhadev Chaturdashi, seventh canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj is asked by Nrsimhadev once he appears. Prahlad Maharaj is asked, fulfill all your desires. Please ask for something. Prahlad Maharaj says, no, I have no desires. And then Nrsimhadev insists, no, you should ask for something. So at that point, Prahlad Maharaj says, if you must give me something, then give me this. Give me the blessing that I may have desire, no desires.
Jaya. Okay, so you're giving the example of Prahlad Maharaj, which is mentioned in the seventh canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and you say that when Lord Nishingadev appeared and killed Hiranyakashipu, then after that he asked Prahlad Maharaj, just tell me what you want, I'll give you. And Prahlad Maharaj, first he was saying that, no, I don't want anything, but Lord Nishingadev was insisting. And then Prahlad Maharaj said just that. He said that, okay, if you insist and you want me to want something, I want you to give me no desires. Kama, kami.
So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that verse, that to have no desires does not mean to have no spiritual desires. It means to have no desire for material satisfaction, for material gain. Spiritual desires must exist. And to prove that, he says that just as soon as Nrsimhadev appeared, Prahlad Maharaj had requested, please make me your servant. Dasavat. Prahlad Maharaj says, make me your servant. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur proves that he already desired to become a servant. Spiritual desire is there, but there is no material desire.
Okay.
So this is,
Come.
anyway, you would
So to explain that, what Prahlad Maharaj said, that give me no desire, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that, in fact, it's not possible to have no desire. Having no desire, when Prahlad Maharaj said having no desire, he meant having no material desire. But spiritual desire we must have. So just after that,
no, just before
Oh, right.
Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says this proves spiritual desires are there, materially no.
Okay, so before Prahlad Maharaj asks Nishingadev, give me no desire, he asked him he was doing the prayers before that, and in his prayers he was asking to be the servant of Lord Nishingadev. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that this proves that he was not without desires, but he had spiritual desires.
So I'm just expanding on you.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much.
What you mentioned about Brahma Bhuta. So as Krishna says, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kanchati. And Srila Prabhupada, the purport says this is the beginning of spiritual life.
Beginning.
So as we have 5 principal relationships, Shanta, Dasya,
Dasya.
onwards. This particular stage, if one remains at that stage, then one remains at Shanta Bhakti.
Shanta.
But this is also there in all the other rasas. So the Brahma Bhuta stage is there for no shochati na kankshati, for no desire and no hankering, like you said. Is there for Shantya, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya.
For all of them.
So it is the beginning.
Just the beginning. Thank you very much.
This is explained by Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhaktivedanta.
In Nectar of Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami explains more about the Brahma Bhuta stage, which covers all the different rasas. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Kiba Jaya Jaya Gaura Chandi Arati Ko Shobha Jaya Jaya Gaura Chandi Arati Ko Shobha Janavi Tatavani Jagamadilobha Dakhini Nitai Chan Bhami Gadadhara Nikatiya Tashini Vata Chatribhara Ratna Singhatani करताल शंखा मधुर मृदंगा बाजे परावरताला शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल बहु कोटि चंद्रजीनी वदन उज्ज्वला बहु कोटि चंद्रजीनी वदन उज्ज्वला शिवा दुख नारदा प्रेमी गदा गादा भगति विनोदा देखे गौरार संपादा जय जय गौरा चंदी आरती को शोभा गौरांगे परमाननो भाव निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्ति वेदान्ता स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदिशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, please have a seat. We are going to have Narsinga Dev prayers. It will just take 5 minutes, and after that you can take Mahaprasadam outside.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Pradadadaine. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Shilatankanakaraye. Ito nrishimo parato nrisimo. Yato yato yamitato nrisimo. Bahir nrisimo hridaye nrisimo. Nrisima madim sharanam prapadye. Avakara kamaravare nakam hatuta shingam darita iranyakashipu tanu bringam keshavadrita narahari rupa jai jagadisha re jaya jagadisha re jai jagadisha re. Keshavadrita narari rupa jai jagadisha re jai jagadisha re jai jagadisha re. Jaya Nrisimha Dev Jaya Nrisimha Dev Jaya Nrisimha Dev Jaya Nrisimha Dev. Jaya Bhakta Prara Jaya Bhakta Prara Jaya Bhakta Prara Jaya Bhakta Prara. Shri Nishingadev Bhagavan ki, Param Maharaj ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gora Premanande.
Hare Krishna. Welcome to Bhaktivedanta Manor, and thank you for attending Gora Arati. And so if you know, then there's going to be Mahaprasad that's served in the reception area. So if you're going, then please take some Mahaprasad. Otherwise, if you can stay, then we're going to be doing some small kirtan for about 45 minutes until about 8:15. And it's just to honor the departed souls, including my good friend Damya Vilas, Prabhu's father, and Keshava Gokulananda's father, who passed away, or who left their body this morning. And also on behalf of my brother Dipesh and me, our mother also left her body on the 5th last week. So we're just going to be doing some small kirtan, just to wish them well on their onward journey and give them blessings on their onward journey. So if you just face Srila Prabhupada, and we'll be starting soon. Hare Krishna. And please do come back, and the next Aarti is at 9 o'clock. Hare Krishna.
One minute.